Chaps, I've got Jordan. Jordan, you're a teacher or a lecturer? Which one is it?
Primary school teacher.
Primary school rich kids, right? Okay, that's good. But you approach so because you're doing some fundraising, but it's not about that. It's more you're going to be doing some walks. Tell us what you're going to be doing for a year. Dedication, mate.
Yeah, of course. So I decided to start at the end of this year's summer holiday. And as you said, I'm going to give myself a full year until the end of my next summer holiday to hike all 214 of the Lake District Wainwright, so all the hills in the Lake District. So the way I'm sort of going about this is I have done quite a few of them before, probably 30 or 40 of them. But it's always been something I've been interested in doing. And certainly as a hiker, it's something most hikers try to sort of tick off the bucket list, if you will. But some of them I know it can take 2, 3, 4 years to cross them off. So I thought, why not try and do it in a year and raise a bit of money for charity alongside that.
Yeah, because the reason I wanted to put it into a video, because I'm like, okay, when I hear this kind of stuff, I always try and dip into the reason why.
So I came across MANUP just looking through a few various different charities, really, all sort of focused around mental health, men's mental health in particular, being something that I've experienced personally, sort of in the years gone by. And as a teacher, even at primary school age, I do have sort of links with the senior school at the school. I'm seeing it more often, particularly in the younger boys, and it's just something I feel passionate about and want to certainly raise awareness for. And if I can raise some money as well, then that's a bonus.
Absolutely. So what primary school? Do you know what? I'm a dad. Primary school is up to 13, isn't it?
Up to 12, so 11, 12.
I should know that. I've got two. I've literally should have. One of them's just gone up, so you're the one down.
Yes.
So that surprised me because we do a few talks with secondary school. Like I was saying off air. It sounds professional, isn't it? There's secondary schools, but I do think your age groups of kids are. I don't want to say being ignored because to be honest, I do strongly believe, because I'm seeing it with my own eyes, schools are really stepping up when it comes down to mental health.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's certainly something we've noticed as like a teaching staff at my school, amongst I'm sure other schools as well. You know, post-COVID, children seem to be struggling a lot more with just dealing with each other, dealing with getting back into school life. And sometimes, especially in the primary school age, they don't quite understand it. So they found that quite hard to deal with, and they don't always know who they can go to talk to about things like that.
Yeah. Do you think I'm going to put you on the spot? So I apologise. Do you think it's because kids are now starting to think they're second best, and the context behind that is there's still a lot of parents working from home, and I get it. That's cool.
Possibly to a point, yes. Like I said, I'd personally say a lot of it's to do with the understanding of what am I doing, why am I struggling with this, who am I talking to. Like I said, we do a lot of this kind of thing in PSHE lessons, where we sort of introduce very early on in the year, you know, you will experience problems this year, you may be experiencing problems from last year, etc. You know, here's the adults at school you can talk to, are the family members at home you can talk to try and sort of ingrain that in them, you know, as soon as we start back in the school year after summer, who they can find if they do feel they need support with whatever it is they're feeling or thinking.
Yeah. No, I think it's nice to hear, and like I said earlier on before we started recording, I know as a parent I've blamed schools before.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's refreshing to see schools really stepping up. So I applaud you and everyone else who's doing it, really. But for your hike, then most people take 2-3 years. Did you say?
Yes, I mean, obviously it'll depend on how committed you are. So the way I've looked at it, there's a little book called Alfred Wainwright's books, and basically they've split it into 36 hikes for all 214. Now those 36 hikes are massive. I mean, the 3 I've done so far have ranged between 12 and 14 miles, you know, up and down 8 or 9 hills. My next one I've planned is actually 17 miles. So they are massive walks. So what most people tend to do when they're not sort of time pressured is they'll split those 36 into sort of 6-7 mile walks and do it over 64 hikes or whatever, which obviously take longer to complete. Now my aim is obviously 36 hikes, is that if I do one every other week, that would be my 26 in 52 weeks. And then if I can split the other 10 between my school holidays, then that should be fine. And obviously building in a bit of leeway for bad weather over the winter, I can pick up a few more in the Easter summer months. That's my rough plan anyway.
Yeah. Well, so how are you going to prepare against, because I presume you're going to announce a fundraiser to your school anyway.
Yes, so I'm hopefully
you're not under enough pressure as it is.
Well, I am, but this is, like I said, something that I've experienced myself with my mental health. I did used to struggle quite a bit in my late teens, early 20s, so going back 8, 9, 10 years now. And I feel certainly as I've progressed through my career as a teacher, I've learned how to deal with pressure a bit more. So I thought, why not go for it? Because I know what some men face, daily, weekly, monthly, and I kind of could think, well, if they can put up with whatever they're going through, then in a bad mental state, then surely if I'm in a good mental state, which I am now, then I can cope with that pressure as well, so to speak.
No, good. But I can't even speak, so no, good on you, mate. So is that why you started hiking and getting out?
A little bit. I mean, it's always been something I've done. So from about 13, I first started the Duke of Edinburgh Award, which I'm sure you've all heard of. So hiking has always been something that I've done. So this was always a little goal in the back of my mind. But certainly when I was struggling getting out and about, certainly helped. I think that's a sort of happy place, if you will, going out and hiking. So I thought this would be a good one to partner up with this challenge.
No, good on you, mate. Really, we're massive advocates. That's the right word, isn't it?
Advocates.
I always feel like I'm speaking to a teacher, but we're massive things. Like sometimes, if you're just struggling, and up to a point moaning about nothing's working, try something new.
Definitely, yeah, definitely agree with that. Yeah.
We've had people who started knitting. We've had wild campers. Little charity disclaimer: obviously, wild camping is illegal in the UK, so make sure we get permission before we do that. That's legal. There you go. It must be worse for you being a teacher, man, isn't it?
Definitely.
But John, we've had such brilliant videos of just people just trying anything to get themselves out of this situation.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it's very important, because it can sometimes feel like, life's a bit mundane. I think that's what I sort of struggled with. I said those many years ago. Just felt like I was a bit stuck in one place, wasn't really doing anything different. So definitely sometimes either trying something new or sort of reigniting an old passion can definitely sort of kickstart things in the right direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it sounds like the hiking helps you out as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just love getting out and about. I mean, I've done all these hikes so far on my own. I mean, I'm not adverse to company in any way, but certainly for me, I just like the idea of being out there on my own with my own thoughts, a bit of peace and quiet, and I'm quite happy just hiking along.
Do you look like a map guy?
Yeah, a little bit of a map guy.
You look like a map guy. So do you think it's because, I presume you go on your own?
Yes, go on my own. Yes, yeah.
So I presume it's if you're going to places where you've probably never been before. All you've got to do, you've got no choice but to rely on yourself and that map, and you can't really think about anything else. Do you think that helps?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there certainly is an element of that. Like I said, on some of the walks, because obviously some of the Wainwrights, they're really popular, so they're quite busy, but others are a bit more off the beaten track, if you will. So I know I could be the only person for miles around. So like I said, you need to rely on your own abilities with reading a map, or if the weather changes all of a sudden, and it starts raining pretty heavy, visibility goes, which certainly can happen and did happen on my last walk. It's just knowing and having the confidence in yourself that you can cope with that situation or whatever that is, and just carry on plodding through and get yourself out to the other side of the route.
Yeah, it's teaching yourself to be reliant on yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. It's self-confidence again. Going back to mine, that was a big thing I struggled with, and that this has certainly helped me to develop my sort of a bit of, like I said, reliance on myself and belief in myself and things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you think after the whole COVID and with everything that's going on, everyone's a little bit less confident?
Yeah, I'd probably definitely agree with that. Even some adults, I see teachers who were definitely nervous coming back into schools post-COVID. And I know we've sort of discussed already children. I think that's had a big effect on them certainly looking at the junior level, their interactions and ability to talk to each other as peers is, I would say, decreased because they've not had that interaction for a year, 2 years, and even their ability to be away from home. I've certainly noticed an increase in sort of separation anxiety in children, being away from parents because they've spent the last 2 years at home with them. Now they're back in school every day, and some are struggling to cope with that.
That's interesting because, like I said before, I run a couple of businesses, and I liaise with a lot of other businesses because of what I do, and they're saying the same thing. It's actually all the work from home people, if that isn't a thing, they're like, oh, actually, can I start coming back to work? But when they come back to work, they start freaking out. They literally, it's
definitely, yeah.
What one of my clients was like, it's literally they're like babies, as in they. I don't mean that offensive whatsoever.
No, of course, yeah.
But they're literally, they've forgotten how to just rely on, they've just forgotten how to fit in.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think that's been a major negative. Obviously, there's been plenty of negatives to do with the whole COVID situation. I think that ability to leave the house, even as simple as leave the house and then leave the house and interact with others and, integrate with others is definitely been negatively affected.
No, absolutely. But do you know what is? I'm kind of hoping in a warped way, this whole cost of living thing, let's face it, is that it's not thing, yeah. The one thing I really, really hope that the good thing is families, dads, mums, whatever, haven't got enough money to go out separately.
Yeah.
So they have to, they've literally got let's see if we can go back to playing Monopoly.
Yeah, definitely. That's a bit more interaction with family members. And
yeah, we might not be able to turn the lights on, so we'll have to do it by candlelight. I don't know, maybe I'm just positive about that. I'm just kind of hoping that there's got to be something good what's happening out of.
You'd like to hope so. Like I said, if we can go back to this belief that something positive will be coming, then that's certainly going to help people.
Yeah, well, it always pans out, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
always pans out. So just ride the storm and
exactly
together and work together, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, well, that's the important thing. Like I said, just going through these sort of dark patches and realizing that they will sort of end eventually, and that there will be some brighter, without sounding too cheesy, brighter light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, there is. We've done well. I did my 100th video about 6-7 months ago.
Right.
And I don't really count them anymore, if I'm honest with you. But every single one has said actually it always blows over. We might slip back down again every now and again.
Yeah, definitely.
Out, but we never quite get to that bottom of the pile. We never do.
Low point, yeah.
Absolutely. So just before we're flowing through that, actually,
I know it. Time flies, eh?
This is why I don't script them. I just think it's more natural.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's better like this, I think. Yeah.
I think you as a person, as a man, maybe you. I'm going to ask you as a teacher, but if there are people watching this and like they might be, it doesn't matter about their gender, that's irrelevant. But if they feel like they're not confident or they're just, I don't want to say fitting in. I don't mean how that sounds, but what would you say to them? How did you get your confidence back?
I just think it's important to talk to people. That's still something I struggle with. I think that's something most people who feel a bit down, they do struggle to talk to people. So I'd definitely say that. And as I've said with the pupils, certainly in my class, it's the first thing I tell you. If you do have a problem, please come and talk to me about it. Don't just sort of sit there in silence. But in terms of sort of gaining confidence again, I just think it's important to find something that you're good at, or even just something that you enjoy, and just start making more use of that again, getting back, whether it's an old hobby or something you just enjoy doing at home, just something small to start with, and just building up from there. And once you get that sort of self-belief back that you can do that thing you enjoy, or you are good at that thing you're good at, then you can take confidence in that. And like you said with my mat reading, just believing in yourself and being able to rely on yourself with certain things, it can really help.
Yeah. Do you think people are not testing themselves as much as they used to?
Quite possibly, yeah. I think with COVID, people have certainly built up sort of like a comfort zone.
Yeah.
With certain things.
Without a doubt, yeah, without question. Yeah.
Whether people are now a bit more reluctant to, like you've just said, sort of push themselves out of that comfort zone. That probably is the case, I think, in some people.
Yeah. So when you're doing your first walk,
So I've actually 3 walks in. So I started on August 31st was my first walk, which was my last day of my summer holiday. So I've done 3 walks so far and crossed off 20 of the Wainwrights. I'll be aiming to do another couple of walks over the October half term, which is in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully by the end of October, I should have close to 30 crossed off, which I wanted to get a bit more done now before the weather changes too much into the winter, and then again I can pick up any slack in the Easter and summer months.
Oh, good on you, mate. Just make sure you don't put yourself under loads of pressure.
Definitely not, no.
Especially now if you've got a school watching you, and obviously we're going to have our BDRs as well going, well done, just don't put yourself under pressure, mate, isn't it?
No,
mate?
definitely not, no. That's amazing.
Enjoy the walk.
Well, that's the thing, just enjoying it as well as doing it for everything else. And I'm largely doing it for my own enjoyment, and everything else is a bonus.
No, good on you, mate. Absolutely good on you. But let me hit the unrecord button.
Excellent.
Is that even a word?